Okay, welcome back to Bounce Around Charleston. And I have with me now Kendra Snipe. She is the board chair, the newly elected board chair of the YWCA of Greater Charleston. Welcome, Kendra, to Bounce Around Charleston.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Reverend Miller.
Yes, ma'am. So tell us what's happening with the YWCA.
What's not happening with the YWCA? Of course, we have some very strong programs, and I think it's important for me to lead with that. So let me just give you just a quick overview of some of those programs.
Okay.
Read 360, we have Keisha Smith, who is an amazing workshop coach and facilitator. This We 360 is a program that's designed to help women entrepreneurs of color overcome barriers in entrepreneurship, because we both know that that's not easy. And it basically helps to sharpen their business plan and to introduce them to some financial resources. Let's talk about She's Strong. She's Strong is something that just came out in our recent newsletter. We have done a rebranding, and this program empowers young women in high school to become leaders and change makers. And we want our young women to be aware. We want them to be aware of their voices and how to amplify their voices. What Women Bring has been, a phenomenal experience. We've had to change it over to a virtual platform, but it's been just as successful. And What Women Bring is the luncheon that's designed to celebrate women's leadership in business, community, and culture. But more importantly, these women are leaders who have been changing the face of women at work across 11 industries, each one candidly addressing real issues that women confront in their careers. And I can attest to that as well, because I'm new in my career and working pretty hard. And sometimes I have to deal with some issues that I have to learn how to address them appropriately.
You know what I noticed, Kendra?
Uh-huh.
I also noticed, even with you being the new board chair, it's a younger type woman that's taking charge. And normally, and I'm being honest, normally when we saw the YWCA, it was normally a lot of these elderly women who were like running things, but now the face has changed.
The face has changed, and that's put quite a bit of pressure on me, I would say. But you know what? But I am open and ready for the challenge. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So before I continue to tell you about the other programs that the YWCA is offering, I think it's important to make it very clear that YWCA Greater Charleston, we are intentional in seeking women who are under 30 and under 40, because you've said it best. The board makeup is usually older women, or in some cases, when we're looking at bigger boards, it's always male dominated. So we want to make sure that we're exposing young women to leadership opportunities at what I call non-traditional ages, because we don't want to take for granted that your age is going to equate the level of intelligence or experience that you've had. If you're working in your community, you are proof that you know exactly what's happening and you have a clear understanding of how you can make an impact. Why not? So we need to begin to give ourselves some grace and not look at age as a reason to deny people an opportunity to do great work in the community.
Because you used a word earlier, change maker. Define that word.
Change maker is in the eye of the beholder, to be honest with you. So for Kendra, my definition of a change maker would, if you see something, say something. If you see something that is not particularly beneficial to your community, whether it's a school or being a member of a board, what do you have in place to make sure you are disrupting change, or you're making good trouble, as we've heard before? What are you doing to put yourself out there to not only be someone who's going to complain, but what can you bring to the table to make sure you are going to address a need that's clearly visible?
Okay. Now, what are some of the other programs that you all have in place?
So in addition to What Women Bring, the MLK celebration is something I have I know that you know very well, is a long-standing tradition of the YWCA, which was first held way before my time, January 15th, 1972. So it's a growing 10-day long celebration, just to include a few of my favorites: the Ecumenical Service, the Business and Professional Summit, and the Youth Speak Out Poetry Slam, which has really done a phenomenal job of just bringing in, attracting young people who really have something to say. So, and the last thing I would say is the Racial Equity Institute is pretty new to the YWCA program lineup, as new as January 2017. But it helps communities to address institutional racism. It's a 2-day workshop that is now virtual because of the current circumstances that we're faced with right now. But it's an amazing opportunity for people to really see from a lens that takes away personal discretion. We're looking at things from a historical nature, and history doesn't lie. So I do encourage as many people. We have scholarships, we have just opportunities for you to experience this 2-day workshop. It's life-changing, it really is.
Okay, and how can women of the community get involved?
Well, the YWCA has an amazing website where you can go online and just sign up to be a volunteer. And we basically pool that information. So as you go online and you find things that you're interested in, you will be able to find your place with the Y. So ywcagc.org. You go there, find the volunteer portion of the website and just sign up from there, and it automatically goes to our office.
But you all do so many great things, even with the MLK parade, and the way the citizens line the streets of downtown Charleston. I think it's a powerful illustration.
It really is, and it gives people something to look forward to, and it's a YWCA signature event. And we'd love to hear when people are sharing their experience of how great of a time they had, how they saw their cousin from 20 years ago they hadn't seen in years at the parade. You know, it's a way to bring people together. It's a feel-good experience. And even in the midst of COVID, we're still able to bring that same experience from a virtual perspective. So just how unique is that? To me, that speaks volumes of just how innovative the organization is, that we continue to ebb and flow, just regardless of what we're being faced with, we still manage to pull off a really good event.
And you all can stand on the shoulders of people like Christine Jackson.
Yes. We always look forward to having conversations with Miss Christine, and she wants to make sure, even when we had a Skype call or a Zoom call with her, she wanted to make sure that she saw all of our faces. She wanted to hear from each one of us. So just as sharp as they come, and she has really set a tone that we're trying to make sure that we are not only living up to the standard of what she had in mind as the vision for the Y, but we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs based on where the community stands today. You know,
the first time, no, I won't say the first time, but one of the major times I heard the word branding, it was through one of the classes you all shared.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, teach me something.
Well, I am so glad that you want to be taught, and I'm happy to share with you. Branding is as simple as, when you think of YWCA Greater Charleston, what comes to mind? The programs that we mentioned, being able to see that orange, being able to see the beautiful pictures based on experiences that participants have had in the programs. Branding means that we want to make sure that we are recognizable wherever we go, and people will never get us confused with anyone, because we stand alone and we hold true to the mission, and we're able to do that by keeping a consistent look across the board.
And you know, that business and professional breakfast that's hosted every year, I am amazed at the number of people that come out 7:30 in the morning.
Right. That's right. You wouldn't want to miss it. It's a signature event of Charleston. And of course, you know, you have a very special role as a part of the YWCA breakfast as well. So people are coming to see you too.
But believe it or not, I sang at the first one, and it started there with Mayor Joe Riley, and I've been singing.
And you've been singing ever since.
Ever since.
And we wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, what else would you like to share with our viewers about the Y?
Well, I want to talk about what it means to be a young woman of color leading the board for a historically significant organization. That's something that I don't take lightly. I feel like it's such a privilege to be in a place where I started on a board in my late 20s. And from there, I was able to propel to the level of YWCA Greater Charleston board chair. I do not take that lightly. It is such a beautiful privilege that the folks who I've always served with on the board could see that type of integrity and leadership skills in me. And I just want to encourage young women all across the board, never doubt yourself. Always stand firm in what you believe in. Find an organization that aligns with who you are as a person. And I think it just becomes an easy thing. It's not a task. It's really a labor of love. And I will never forget the opportunity that was presented to me by, at the time, the current chair was Carrie Forrest. And she made it very clear to me, okay, you can get on the board, but this is a working board. So don't come here looking around, acting like you don't know what to do. Like, she was like, when you get on the board, find your place and own it. And that's exactly what I did. And today, she sent me a message recently just talking about how proud she was that I am now the board chair. Who would have ever known?
And you know what? And that's something that you can speak to other young women about. Right.
Absolutely. And I mean, my leadership progression as a member of the board, it came with so many different learning. Like, there was a place where I didn't feel like I knew exactly what I was doing. Here I was, fresh out of college, trying to figure out my own way. I graduated from college during in the middle of a recession. So I was trying to figure out life for myself, and you're asking me to be on a board. Like, what exactly can I do? I'm still trying to figure it out. But you know what, Reverend Miller, to this day, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I've learned to encompass it all. I've learned to just grab everything and keep it moving.
Well, Kendra, I'm happy to interview you today, the new board chair for the YWCA of Greater Charleston. And I'll tell you what, Mrs. Judge Tamara Curry thinks that you're the perfect person for the job.
Well, I received the baton from her, and trust me, I have her on speed dial. It's so good to see you. I really appreciate these conversations we have.
Thank you so much, Kendra, and enjoy your work with the YWCA.
I definitely will. You take care now.
Okay, you've heard it here again on Bounce Around Charleston. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.